Hi, Justin Brake here, reporting from Vancouver, British Columbia for The Independent and Ricochet Media, where today marks the beginning of the fourth week of a 5-week trial in which the Narwhal and freelance photojournalist Amber Bracken are suing the RCMP over what they say was the RCMP's unlawful arrest of Amber Bracken and detention in November 2021 when Bracken was on assignment for the Narwhal, covering the RCMP's enforcement of an injunction in Wet'suwet'en territory in northern British Columbia, where Wet'suwet'en were opposing the passage of the Coastal GasLink pipeline through their unceded territory. Today, in this long trial, Narwhal co-founder and editor Carol Linnett was on the stand, and for the entire day it was the Crown attorney for the RCMP cross-examining Linnett. It seemed like they were trying to establish anything that could discredit potentially the Narwhal and or Amber Bracken. The Crown asked, quite a few questions specific to Amber Bracken's assignment, what Carol Linnett knew and didn't know at the time that Amber was on the ground in Wet'suwet'en territory. Amber was arrested at gunpoint alongside journalist and documentary filmmaker Michael Toledano, and also alongside land defenders. There were no smoking guns or anything, but there were a lot of questions for Linnett about what she knew about text messages between her and Amber at the time. And they seemed to really focus for a little while on this notion of journalists embedding with protesters. Carol Linnett noted that the term embedding didn't really become a thing until after Amber's arrest, and then there was a national media coverage around that, and a lot of the terminology that was used to describe Amber Bracken's coverage was that she had embedded. So just a couple of main points from Linnett's testimony today. She noted, for one thing, that when we say journalists embed with a group, that doesn't automatically mean that they are only reporting the perspective of that particular person or group. And she noted that Amber Bracken and the Narwhal had reached out many times to the RCMP and to Coastal GasLink, the company building the pipeline through Wet'suwet'en territory, for comment and for information. The other point that she made, which was really interesting, Linnett said while she's being asked about whether or not Amber Bracken or the Narwhal had contacted the RCMP and asked for permission to be there or to notify them of her whereabouts and this sort of thing, Linnett said even though Amber Bracken was wearing a press pass, had notified the RCMP of her intentions to be there covering the story, that those were things that journalists do not have to do in the course of their work. The principle of freedom of the press means journalists can make their own decisions about where to be and when and what's newsworthy, what's not. And she said the only reason that they were proactive in disclosing that Amber Bracken was a journalist on the ground in the territory reporting was to avoid unlawful arrest in the first place.